humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
I want to ride. Do you want to ride? June is officially riding month at Rod's Power Sports, Nebraska's largest volume Honda Power Sports dealership. Come in now and take advantage of huge savings and a great inventory selection during Rod's I Want to Ride celebration days all month long. Simply schedule a qualified demo ride on one of their new Honda motorcycles, ATVs, scooters, or side-by-sides, or purchase a new or used vehicle, and you get a free custom I Want to Ride t-shirt. Plus, all month long, they have 10% discounts on all wearables, parts, accessories, and oil change kits when purchased with a new or used Honda. Free refreshments served each Saturday morning in June. Just show up and say, I want to ride, and they'll fix you up with some free stuff and help you pick out that new ride. Come ride with Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln or online at rodspowersports.com. For your safety, read the owner's manual and always wear a helmet and eye protection. Honda Power Sports vehicles are for riders 16 years and older. Honda recommends that all ATV riders take a training course.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, patchy fog possible this morning. Otherwise, sunny skies. It'll be breezy and hot with a high near 95. Tonight, a slight chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, mostly clear and breezy. Low around 75. And tomorrow, lots of sunshine, breezy and hot with a high around 103. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fleck from 3.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
You've heard the phrase bigger is better. Hello, this is Joe Cordell of Cordell and Cordell. As applied to family law firms, this phrase can be misleading. Yes, it's true that more resources, proven processes, a wealth of shared experience and expertise, these are all good things. But it's also true that being local has its advantages for a law firm. Familiarity with judges, with local experts, opposing counsel, even the local rules and practices. So if you're a guy confronting a family law matter, you should be thinking right now, I need all the above. I need big and local. In that case, call Cordell and Cordell, a national law firm comprised of local offices with local attorneys who practice in local courts. Remember, for over 35 years, we've been the partner that you can count on.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys. 402-858-3220. CordellCordell.com. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? Happy Thursday. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman, Old School, the New School Way. We are live in effect, 1040 Oak Street, the mecca of sports radio in this great state of Nebraska and the phenomenal city of Lincoln. We are brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Ingredients Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, 85th and Old Cheney / Andrew Matt, and 168th in Maple up there in the O. It is above 90 degrees, slight wind. It's still a prime time. It's a prime time to stop by the Mercado on the way home. Get you something that you can throw on the grill.
Mm.
And before we get into any sports and stuff like that, and we did some CWS on the block, and obviously got probably the last game in the NBA Finals coming up here, and plethora of Husker news going on. They got some official visits and other guys that, like I said, we talked throughout the Big Ten quarterback news. Nebraska got, I think one thing, before I want to talk about a little bit in the grilling, and it has to do with sports, but the Vanderbilt quarterback. Yeah, I think Nebraska is one of those. I think Nebraska. I mean, I don't think I know Nebraska. We were so good, and obviously this predates when I was at Nebraska. So dominant, so consistent, so good, and the hatred ran deep that they, people just think like, hey, you just had a bunch of white guys that corn-fed white dudes, and you just bowling everybody over. Now we had some great players.
You had corn-fed white dudes. You had corn-fed black dudes. Had corn-fed brown dudes.
We had everybody.
Corn-fed.
But I didn't realize the impact that we made on their life. That everybody was hating him. So the Vanderbilt quarterback, obviously, he was. I think he was on Bustin' with the Boys talking about Nebraska. And he was talking about, and he has a great story. He played for Jerry Kill. His first NIL deal, he was getting $1,400 a month. Then he went up to 10, and then he said he would have stayed for 100 at New Mexico State. And then obviously Vanderbilt gave him more than that. And then obviously the rest is history. And I'm sure he's getting overpaid right now, or he got super duper paid. Congratulations to him. But then he was like talking about the SEC versus the Big Ten, and SEC is the best place. And obviously he's saying it because he feels Vanderbilt is a team that's on the rise. Much, in my opinion, he feels like Nebraska. We're on the come up. Had a successful season last year. He was successful. They beat Bama. They took the goalposts all the way down the whole. I mean, it was
to the river.
It was a phenomenal scene. And Nash Vegas is a great place to probably go to school, and obviously nightlife is second to none anywhere. And so he's feeling himself, and I'm sure he's had. I know the Nebraska players have had a phenomenal offseason, as they always do. I'm sure he's had a tremendous offseason in Nashville.
I need to double check this because I don't want to speak out of turn. But I think, so I'm 95% sure. I need someone to confirm this. But Nebraska offered Diego Pavia as a wrestler.
Mark, he ain't tough enough to play with Mark Man or to be on
3-time state wrestling finals, state champ in New Mexico at 160.
The fact that he running his mouth, he wouldn't have made it.
I believe Nebraska.
I mean, he's. I was just joking, but his thing is, he just said, hey, he essentially said Vanderbilt's better than Nebraska and Purdue. Essentially, Vanderbilt is better than Nebraska and Purdue. So Vanderbilt's looked at as a lower level team in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the SEC is better than the Big Ten, because he put Nebraska in there. So on one part, anytime you mention Nebraska, that's the way you get traction. And I'm sure he might have said it because I think Will Compton was interviewing him. But then also it lets you know the impact that we've been down. We've been down bad for
a while. Too long.
From our standards. Not our expectations were down bad. But from our standard, we're down from where we were, right? Which is just plain as day. But it also lets you know the impact that Nebraska still has, that you got a dude that essentially hit the lottery. He hit the quarterback athlete lottery. And this is what the quarterback athlete lottery is. And you're probably more apt to hit that with that position was you go to New Mexico State, you have a top 30, 40 coach for top 30 coach of Jerry Kill that kind of got pushed out too quick in Minnesota, definitely because of health issues. We saw him having a health issue here. And he lands on his feet in New Mexico State. He knows how to win, right? He knows how to do way more with less than majority of people. He's comfortable doing that.
Right.
You beat out everybody at New Mexico State. And just so happens the backup at Vanderbilt who was getting paid 100 and he said 100 or 150, got hurt. You were okay staying at New Mexico State for less than that.
Right.
They needed a quarterback, and you said, why not? And then next thing you know, you catch Genie in a bottle, and now you're a superhero.
Yep. Not a superstar, but superhero.
Superhero.
Mm-hmm.
You're legendary status now at Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
No more Jay Cutler, even though Jay Cutler lives there.
Smoking Jay.
Yeah, Jay Cutler is long gone, right? And so now you have the impact where he's like, hey, I get that mic in front of me. He went from Joe Flacco to Joe Montana all of a sudden in his mind. And he's a good player. I mean, he's tough. I like his leadership and stuff like that. But it also lets you know that where you are as a program, it's a compliment. It has a negative tone, but it is a compliment.
Vanderbilt's starting quarterback history is like Miami Dolphins-esque.
No, it's like the Chicago Bears.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even that.
I mean, let's just say Marino and Cutler are the same guy. Let's just say. I know they're not, but in college, right?
Right.
Here's the history. A.J. Swan, they're going reverse chronological. Mike Wright, Ken Seals, Deuce Wallace, Mo Hassan, Riley Neal, Kyle Shermer.
Okay. Yeah.
Johnny McCrary, Wade Freebeck, Stephen Rivers, Patton Robinette, Austin Carter Samuels, Jordan Rogers.
He was decent.
He was okay. Yeah. He was there. Academic honor roll, if not all conference. Eric Carson, Larry Smith, Mackenzie Adams, Chris Nixon, Jay Cutler. Before that, Greg Zolman, Damian Allen, Ronnie Gordon, Marcus Wilson, Mike Healy, Eric Jones, Mark Racker, John Gromos, Kurt Page, Whit Taylor, Van Heflin, Mike Wright again.
Yeah. That's like three.
There's nothing.
There's three. It's Rogers, obviously Cutler, and I think Damian Allen went up to Canada. And is that the Damian Allen that was in Canada?
Could be. Let's see. Damian Allen, where'd you go? He does not have a second Wikipedia page. So if it is, I'm not sure.
Yeah. So
I may at least remember the name Austin Carter Samuels a little bit.
I don't remember. Well, you should remember it's Austin, but I don't remember him at all. But that also when I'm talking about hitting the quarterback or athlete lottery in this day and age of NIL and snapshot exposure leading to lifelong, life-changing money. He's an example of it.
Right.
But he's a good player now. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from him. He's tough. Mm-hmm. He makes plays. They rallied around him. I really like their coach. I think you have to have a certain mindset as a coach, player, and administrator to do well at Vanderbilt. I think this slowdown of the transfer portal and the uptick in financial, help when their NIL has really helped Vanderbilt. I mean, obviously, I know it. I was getting recruited by Northwestern. I would not go to Vanderbilt. I wouldn't make it in Vanderbilt. And so
Chicago and Nashville are dangerous for two very different reasons.
Yeah, well, they're both of them are great places to party, but academically, it might be the shortest tenure possible. But back to Nebraska, I think obviously you got a lot of stuff going on, and with Nebraska with camps and official visits and star rankings, and you got a lot of players here going other places, and it lets you know where Nebraska could go, which is also a great compliment. But it's the most dangerous compliment or the most dangerous situation as an athlete, because generally people always are going to tend to, this is our time. Yeah. We're going to be back, which is great, and that's what you should, because you've obviously made some strides to get there. The problem is sometimes you got to make sure that you're mature enough and have the right leadership inside that locker room to make sure the main thing is the main thing. And that's what he's facing. The revisionist history of drawing back on that feeling, that the euphoria of that Alabama game, they're still feeling it and still talking about it right now. You're not the same team. And I can tell you, if you go down to Tuscaloosa this year, I can promise you, you're going to have their full attention.
And they can't afford, as a fan base or a program, to look back on that win over that Alabama team like it's their national championship. It's a nice win. Congratulations, you did it. Little old Vandy. It's worth celebrating.
It's a legendary win. It's a legendary win. It's a once-in-a-lifetime win because of the ranking of Alabama and where Vanderbilt was. It's no different than the time I think Nebraska they lost to Iowa State, right, up at Iowa State, and so it happens.
Like 9-7 or
it
something.
happens,
Yeah.
right? But look how long it's taken Iowa State to be consistent right now, and they've had some different teams that are pretty good. So, but back to Nebraska, this is when you think about it, we can talk about it for the next 10, 13 minutes. Is that right now, as we've seen in June, it's the hardest time right now because it's training camp is coming about 6 weeks from now, but then you still have 6 more weeks to benefit off of everything I talked about, which is a unique, positive, could be negative position to be in. So that the ability to hyper focus and to push yourself and almost get out of the what ifs or maybe devil in the what ifs, and kind of create fictional people in your in competitors in your mind, and find different ways to motivate yourself, especially for the next 2 to 3 weeks, especially when you're going through summer conditioning and stuff, is going to be paramount to the success of Nebraska. And it's going to be the paramount to the success of teams like Vanderbilt, and, at some point in time, you got to take stuff like that personal, and it can't be the coaches. It can't be the fans that are upset of it. It's got to be the players that got to think of, hey, I'm tired of being looked at as a stepping stone. I'm tired of being looked at as an old program that's never going to be good again.
Right.
And those are the things that needs to motivate you right now, or you're going to get more secondary players, secondary universities trying to take shots at you.
Yes, but does Nebraska need to care about that, right? Where's that line between caring about what people think, caring about history, and focusing on yourself in the moment? Because I think that's the big picture goal, is to not be the laughingstock, to not be brought up in those sorts of conversations.
Right.
But also, maybe that's fuel for these guys, but maybe that's taking the focus off of, I just got to be better today. And then let whatever happens, however people talk about you, fall by the wayside.
Yeah, people are going to talk about you anyways. No matter,
as we saw.
Right. You're going to talk about you anyways. They're going to talk about you if you're a national champion or if you're a national chump. I mean, I think you don't, it's not 100% of your focus, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not 100% of your motivation, right? But it can motivate you like in between, this kind of dog days of summer, for real.
Gotcha.
And it's not, you probably won't play Vanderbilt this year. It'd be great if you did. It'd be, we've seen the last time Vanderbilt was talking about Bama, and Bama went up there and Jalen Hurts was eating a hot dog by halftime, right? Because you made Nick Saban mad. So I don't think it's bulletin board material, but I think
I think it can be on the bulletin board. It's just not what you circle and highlight. Yeah, it's got to be there so you can see it.
It's just in the small corner.
Yeah.
Right. And it's something that could catch your attention just because you just happen to look up.
Yeah.
But I think it's bigger than that. Right. So when you think about bulletin board stuff, that's emotion. That's, like in the moment.
Motivation, not discipline.
Right. So now we got to think about it bigger.
Yeah.
That's all part of it. Right. So now you got to think about it like a reverse. Okay, we're going to become so disciplined and our standards are going to get so high that even if somebody says it, it's just a blip on the radar screen. And then once we meet an opponent that has said that in the past, that's where the Michael Jordan pettiness comes in. And that's where the domination comes in. And then therefore, you don't have to worry about intimidating anybody because everything that's on tape or everything that you've heard about Nebraska at that point in time comes to fruition from the tape to reality, and then the game's over.
What we need to do is the Big Ten Media Days. Pool some cash together. Find a player from another team that Nebraska is going to play and have them say to Nebraska, you're not 9-5. See who that pisses off.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? These kids are so young. They just be like, who cares? I mean,
what if someone tells Dylan he's not the real 1-5? Would that do it?
No, I think he's
should it do it?
It should, or just say I'm the new one. I'm the new version. I mean, I think he would think he's the new version, and he probably thinks he's just Well, I mean, whether you talking about Mahomes or you talking about Tommy Frazier.
Either one. I don't care. Probably Tommy in the context.
I don't think Dylan's would even approach that. I think the biggest thing for these guys as they move forward is just make sure that standard's met every day. But then sometimes you gotta be. It happens. Somebody pokes the bear. then you just deal with the results.
Well, but then if you're the Bear and you get poked, you have to do something about it.
Yeah, or
you got to defend your turf.
Or you like the difference between I've been looking on the internet at night,
dangerous
TikTok. The difference between a black bear and a brown bear. Black bear, you might have a chance to scare him off, right? When he's supposed to run at him and just kind of. Brown bear, you better get to moving because he's
find someone slower
because he's constantly exactly. It's all about who's in proximity. Run next to the slow person, right? Because then that's what they're gonna get. So, but what I mean by that is you always maybe want to be, the brown bear. You don't always have to be poked. You just want to be the aggressor because at the end of the day, you just got to worry about it. You don't worry about the results afterwards. But I thought it was just interesting that you have somebody from a totally different conference that had a really, really, I call it a snapshot version of success, right? And you get hot. We talked about it yesterday when you kind of get on a run. We talked about it was Derek Queen, as far as in the NBA draft, he, from Big Ten, or he played from the second half of the regular season and or later the second half of the regular season, which we saw him at PBA when he was pretty much the difference maker. He got busy, and then it went from Reese being the bell cow to essentially him being the front and center, and then his run through the NCAA tournament. Now you got him potentially going in the lottery pick. Well, now you think about this dude here. You went from New Mexico State, just on the surface. You go from New Mexico State to Vanderbilt. They're like, oh, okay, that's cool. You're just a throw-in, right? You're the starter at New Mexico or at Vanderbilt from New Mexico State,
but you're a Vanderbilt.
It's the same,
yeah,
right? Except for you're in a bigger conference. Let's see how you do. Well, then you have an iconic victory. Once in a lifetime victory. I mean, you had the whole world was talking about it.
Yeah.
Now you think you
think you're that guy?
Yeah.
You think you're him?
Yeah. And also when you're at a university that really the only other quarterback that was viable was Jay Cutler. Right. And it's not a knock against Jay Cutler, but this is not Ohio State where you got this plethora, or even like Michigan and all these other places. Then you start to feel yourself a little bit. And so now, and rightfully so. So we'll see, come this fall, because what happens is that, some players they come in, I call it memory drunk. You constantly go back to
back then, glory days, right. Nostalgia.
Last year.
Right.
I was good last year. And you hear it all the time.
Oh,
the guys that be a junior, former 4-star recruit. That was 4 years ago. Some guys, if you had COVID, you know what I mean? It was 6 years ago.
Right.
And you're talking about what he did in high school versus what he's doing in college or when he's an adult. And sometimes you never let that go. And then sometimes you get bypassed.
And that's dangerous for a number of reasons. I mean, number one, you can use that as motivation. I'm still that dude.
Yeah.
I can still do this. But once you start saying that publicly and you haven't backed it up yet, oh boy, you're in trouble.
And you know what? They might be on to something. I think Vanderbilt's probably along the lines of the year that Northwestern had when nobody thought they were going to win a game. I think that's the same. There was the same, kind of expectations or standard that they generally had, a new coach and a young coach and very energetic, and it's a kind of unique situation. And they got on that winning, and you start to win some games. You just never know what you can do.
It is interesting too that obviously we're attached to this because it's Nebraska, but he also said Purdue. And that's basically what Vanderbilt has been. Academic, black and gold,
they look the same.
Run here and there.
Right.
They act the same. Come on, man. You got to know your own school's history and understand where you've come. Again, live in the moment. Love it. Congratulations. It can be a new era. But you've had one decent year.
Yeah.
In the last decade. I would love to know how Purdue people are taking this. They're sitting there like, well, you got us. We know.
Barry Odom is probably using that as a lot more motivation than Nebraska, and that's just because Barry's a linebacker. I know him a little bit. And
he's a linebacker.
Yeah, he played at Missouri. He's a good player. Really good player. Actually, a really good coach. He worked his way up. He was a head coach at Missouri, for a while. He's a really good recruiter. He went down to UNLV and obviously did his thing there. For the expectations or standard at Purdue, I expect him, because he's more like he has more experience at it. You know what I'm saying? In these type of situations at Purdue, and plus magically, Purdue invested in their collectives when he gets it. This is what I want to ask you, Austin. I love Tom Allen.
You do.
I think he's the
LEO.
I love Tom Allen. And he's a great coach. He's a great motivator. He's a really good recruiter. He's a developer as well, because a lot of his players that he's coached went on to the next level. Michael Penix Jr. was one of his proteges or one of his projects. How would you feel as a coach that you take a job at that time like Indiana, minimal support, minimal at best support, Purdue, minimal, like Walters, like you had you were part of Illinois, put a lot of guys in the NFL, coached a lot of guys that just got drafted. You take this job and you can't even get a free hamburger. You can't even get a car, like a loaner car. You can't even get like, I think a lot of coaches get like airtime as far as private jets for personal time. You probably don't even have a clothing allowance besides the Nike swag. We're talking about like, suits and stuff.
Right.
And then as soon as you're gone, now, mind you, in Walter's case, they hired you 18 months prior. So 2 seasons prior. But as soon as you're gone, they're like, oh, yeah, here goes some money. Like with Tom Allen, with Signetti.
Yeah. I think that, number one, it's just kind of the way of the world, right? That's why you make some of these coaching changes, is to try to drum up some support.
Sure.
I think that's why Minnesota basketball made their move from Ben Johnson. I think it's why Iowa made their move from Fran McCaffrey, just for a couple examples. So I think, number one, it's just natural, just part of the way of the world. Number two, you can take it 2 ways. Number one is to be bitter about it. Well, if I would have had this level of support, if I would have had X, Y, or Z, and that's completely human, completely natural, completely normal. But number two is, Tom Allen's still around. He's still coaching. Probably not going to be a head coach again.
No,
probably
he's down at Clemson now.
Right.
D coordinator there.
DC.
So he's not, listen, he's not
hurting for it.
Yeah, he's not hurting that. But I'm just saying, for him, he had opportunities to leave after that one magical year when they were actually Big Ten champions. He stayed 10 toes down. And then COVID hit. Then they're like, oh, yeah, thanks, but no thanks.
But then I think the lesson is, could I have been slightly pushier? Could I have advocated for myself or my guys even more? Because I think, especially at a place like Indiana, and let's take the reverse aspect of this, Fred Hoiberg at Nebraska. You're the second program, if that. Right? I mean, Nebraska's volleyball, I get it. But Indiana basketball is number one. Nebraska football is number one.
Sure.
If you're Tom Allen, could you have said, hey, I'm doing my part over here. Can you help me out a little bit? I'm not saying he didn't, but you've done even more. Made incremental asks. I don't know what Fred Hoiberg is asking for or not asking for, but he understands the reality of the situation at Nebraska internally. He's got to have a finger on the pulse. And it's going to feel, I think, to some degree like, there are a lot of mouths to feed. You don't want to be the ungrateful one, the complainer, the always asking for more. But I think if you want to avoid that feeling of, well, I got cheated, oh, they didn't support me enough, you got to get over the awkwardness of asking, especially if you have proven results. Tom Allen was up and down. Fred Hoiberg seems like things are still pointed up. I think Fred is in more of a position to go, hey, come on, help me. I'm doing this. Can you give me a little bit more? Can you give me 1 extra percent? Okay, can I get another 0.5% on top of that? The worst they can say is no. Then you're just right back to where you are. And sure, maybe the wrong athletic director would take it wrong. Oh, he's needy. Oh, he's pushy.
Right.
Oh, he's not grateful. I don't think that's how Troy Dannon would be. You got to advocate for yourself, for your players, for your program. You can't allow yourself to sink into the mindset of, we're the second program. They're more important. We understand they're going to get taken care of first. You got to fight for yourself and your guys.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point, because if you don't do it, nobody will. And they will have no problem
not giving you
tightening up those purse strings and tell you, well, you should have asked for it. You know, and the flip side is, you think that it would be ready, available. So anyways, good first segment. We're going to touch on a little bit of that in the next segment. And then we'll just talk about local recruiting because they had the 7-on-7 state championship, had some guys commit from West Side, leveling up via 7-on-7 Warren Academy. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
You've heard the phrase bigger is better. Hello, this is Joe Cordell of Cordell and Cordell. As applied to family law firms, this phrase can be misleading. Yes, it's true that more resources, proven processes, a wealth of shared experience and expertise, these are all good things. But it's also true that being local has its advantages for a law firm. Familiarity with judges, with local experts, opposing counsel, even the local rules and practices. So if you're a guy confronting a family law matter, you should be thinking right now, I need all the above. I need big and local. In that case, call Cordell and Cordell, a national law firm comprised of local offices with local attorneys who practice in local courts. Remember, for over 35 years, we've been the partner that you can count on.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell and Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys. 402-858-3220. CordellCordell.com. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and the hail sale has been a huge success, but is winding down. We still though have several units with huge discounts. Plus, we have brand new Sierras, $14,000 off list, or starting at $37,105, or 0.9% APR on select new models. Yes, you heard right. $14,000 off or 0.9% APR on new Sierras starting at $37,105. So please check us out at cobblecars.com. All deals with roof credit, stock number G289358.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Your sprinklers are watering the street or flooding your backyard. If you're on a list that doesn't exist, it's time for Judson Irrigation. At Judson Irrigation, Lee or Lacey or Judson will make an appointment. You pick the time and they'll be there to fix your sprinkler system. Now that's service, a dying art these days.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Second segment, Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman, Old School on this 90-plus degree day. It's about 100 here for the next week. You better buckle up, boy. You better hydrate. Get you some.
Put them steaks on the sidewalk. The Traeger's broken. That's how you do it.
Yeah. But Kevin Meyer put me on to a place by Meyer Cork and Bottle, 13th and South. I was to stop over. He hooked me up last week.
As he does.
Yeah, he hooked me up last week. But then he said, I forget the place that he told me is over there. they shouldn't give them free advertising, but I'll find out. But I have to go check out a new smoker. But here's the trick when it's hot. You better marinate your stuff, and you better have a plan. Because you can't listen. If you're out there constantly flipping, you're gonna sweat. You're gonna sweat. You're gonna sweat. So you gotta be smart about it. And then you also have to make sure that you are prepared for battle out there, because it's hotter, man.
Right.
And if you're cooking for a lot of people, you better strategically have your grill or whatever you have, placed. And one of the funny things, in kind of a little bit of side note with CWS is that I had a baseball, youth baseball games, they buy those tents, those canopy.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to have to put that back in effect.
Mm-hmm. Over the grill?
Yeah, I got it from a garage sale. I got it from a garage sale. When you walk past something in your garage and you like, dang, I hadn't noticed that for 4 years or whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then I start thinking, that's exactly where I'm going to put that when I start grilling, because you're not going to mess up the airflow, and I don't have any flame ups.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got my TV out there. I'm like, oh, yeah. My fall grilling in early winter, like on my scale from 1 to 7, went from a 2.4 to easily right now just planning 6.2.
Woo!
6.2.
Hello. That's a 250% jump, dang near.
Oh, for real. Because I'm thinking the libations that I would be picking up from Meyer Cork and Bottle, the different beers, the cider beers, all that. And get some hard stuff too to go with the grill.
With the meat from the Mercado.
Meat from Mercado.
I'll tell you, I'm a step ahead of you. I've been doing that with my patio umbrella.
That's it too. I'm telling you, man. There's nothing. I'll tell you this, man. Like growing up, Gaithersburg, Maryland / Frederick, to Minnesota, or Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Never would have thought I'd be enjoying kicking it. I like to kick it. Sometimes too much. I like to kick it. And here's the tip that I learned the last time I was in the Mercado and I got me my tomahawk steak.
Okay.
I got a little tip from another customer. And I verified it. Guess where? TikTok.
Of course.
Hey.
Should have known.
Hey, man. Text line. I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys go on to use social media for your cooking and grilling? Listen, I've done stuff and it's all verifiable. So here's what he told me. And I was looking at, I saw a recipe. I saw one guy that I follow. He was doing some pork chops and stuff. So I was eyeing the pork chops.
Okay.
Right. And I still bought some. I bought the thick ones. He's like, here's the trick. Like, you buy the pork loin. He's like, you got a good knife? I was like, I got good knives. He's like, oh, so this is what you do. So he told me, he pulled me to the side. He was like telling me the secrets.
Come over here, son.
He was telling me the secrets or giving me the code. So he's like, you buy a pork loin. And he told me the difference between buying that and then versus the ones that are already cut for you, the difference in the meat. He's like, it's the same meat. He put me on. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to do it right now. I talked to the butcher. I said, I'll be back tomorrow. So I had to go home and go through the proper channels via TikTok. And it's verifiable. So I spent my last night slicing up, and I probably got twice the amount of meat.
How about that?
So you get a pork loin, and depending on where you buy it, but you want to get the fat off, or shave it down. You want to keep some,
a little bit.
Then you render the fat.
Yep.
So now you're making money there, and then you just however you like your boneless pork chop. That's how you, and then you can put them in the freezer and all that stuff. Make sure you date them. Make sure,
of course. Oh yeah. How about that?
Come up like them. We used to call
this is the service you get at the Mercado from the butchers
to the customer.
And your fellow meat lovers.
Yeah. But the best part is, I saw two guys looking at the displays. When you're a true like grill master or somebody that's there to buy some meat, put the hands behind your back. Yeah, like you really like you studious on it. Like you want to pick that one. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you go to, when you ever see like people that go to like Red Lobster or something, and they say, yeah, I want you to cook that one.
Yeah.
That was my great experience at the Mercado, but also great experience as far as sports wise. You want to give a shout out to Bryson Williams from Westside. Two guys with Nebraska legacy, that been here, played here, and were actually really good players. So Jamel Williams, who I played with Farley, a national champion, played in the NFL for a little while. His son Bryson was originally, I think, going to North Dakota State. It's crazy. I don't know where he got his height from. He's like 6'4", 175. He's fast, man. I mean, I'm telling you, he is fast. When me and Nick did a game when he was at what school? He was at Millard West. You remember this game?
Yep, I think so.
Listen, I think they played East, and they had dominated the whole game. He touched the ball 4 times. 4.
Yeah.
4 times.
Uh-huh.
House called all
of them.
All of them.
Yep.
It got into overtime. One pass, house call. I was like,
9-9.
And he was a sophomore.
Yeah.
I was like, he's a little thin or whatever. You knew he was going to go to college, and he was good at baseball too. Obviously, track, sprouted up 6'4", 175. So I think I know at one point in time he was going to North Dakota State. And I think his brother's there. And then he he started to level up, and now he just committed to Iowa State.
How about that?
So big shout out to him. Hard work pays off. And then also the Maurice Purified Jr., who Maurice Purified Sr. was here. Big old good-looking athlete, 6'4".
So Mo's one of the first guys I remember.
Maurice Purified.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember him just because of his name. I was like, oh, Nebraska got some receivers. I know they got my man Nate Swift representing Minnesota, but
I really thought Omar Manning was going to be Maurice Purified 2.0. Big body, red zone, goal line, third down.
Yeah. And Maurice Purified Sr., I think he played for the Bengals for a while.
I think so.
He made some plays. And so I was already probably retired or almost retired then. So, I keep up with him. This is Nebraska players. But his son, I know he was out at Fresno, which is obviously, a really cool situation and story. You're from Omaha. You're at Westside, ton of players. And obviously, Miller South is over there with a ton of, Division I players. And via, Warren Academy in the development of, through their program and Westside and being around really good players in a winning culture, you go through 7-on-7, which is kind of like the last part of basketball. They're traveling around in March and stuff like that. Obviously started doing some work, goes to Fresno on a visit. Next thing you know, goes to Washington State on a visit, likes it, a great opportunity for him, and a great coach that's, really, really taking that opportunity from South Dakota State. So the offense is going to be explosive. He commits there. I mean, I think it's really good. I know that a lot of people are up in arms because Jet Tamala is going to Alabama, but I think this is a positive. I think all of them, these kids going places. When you think of 12 guys that are going Power 4, big places, there was times where, in recent, like when Bo Pelini was here, I think they didn't recruit the player of the year. I think it was Bo. Matter of fact, I think it was Klester's son. Because I think he went to Wyoming. I think I'm right on that. I know, first of all, I know he was really, I think it was, matter of fact, I know it was Klester's son won the player of the year, the Gatorade player of the year. And I know he went to Wyoming because I know he caught a touchdown with Josh Allen when he was a freshman. And I think Nebraska didn't recruit him. I can't speak for it. I mean, Klester being on WTF, but he'll clarify that. But what I'm saying, at that point in time, it was out there that there was no good players in Nebraska. You know what I'm saying? Harrison Phillips, won state however many times in wrestling. Then, they had said that they didn't have a position for him or they didn't know where he fit. He goes to Stanford and obviously still playing in the NFL right now. But
there was that guy that went to Iowa too.
Ott.
Yeah, Drew Ott.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's from, he was
small town.
Yeah. But you got to think, so you have all those guys and there was a time that there wasn't any players. Their perception was, right?
This is quite the list of Gatorade players of the year in Nebraska.
What do you mean?
Connor Booth.
Yeah.
Anthony Rizak.
Yeah.
Zane Flores.
Yeah.
Noah Walters.
Yeah.
Cole Payton.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about him. Tebow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Javon Ducker.
Yeah. He was at Memphis now, I think, right? Because he was at Northern
Illinois.
Then he's at Memphis.
Okay.
I think.
Nick Henrich.
Yeah. Who's he? Who came here?
Milton Stargba.
I don't know who that is.
Same. Trevor Nicholson.
I don't know who that is either.
Jaden Kowalski.
I don't know who that is.
CJ Johnson, 14-15.
Right.
Harrison Phillips.
Right.
2 years before that, Drew Ott.
Okay.
Tyson Brokemeyer. Bronson Marsh.
Kind of remember him.
Baker Steinkuhler was 2 years
Yeah.
before him.
Yeah.
Danny Woodhead, 0304. Bo Rude, whose name they misspelled on this, by the way.
Yeah.
Dane Todd.
Dane won Player of the Year?
Yeah,
I gotta send
2001,
him a text,
2002.
man. I gotta
Gatorade
send
Player
him-
of the Year,
I gotta
Nebraska.
send him a text.
Let's see. Crouch got it 96, 97.
Well, for
Amon
sure.
in 94, 95.
Well, yeah. I mean, but I'm
So
talking-
Cluster won it too in 90, 91.
Right. So that just shows you at that point in time, that was a guarantee they were coming down 45 minutes to Nebraska.
Calvin
But-
Jones won it the year before Cluster.
That's a good class. That's some dudes right there. And then you think about like, what my point is, at one point in time, the perception was there wasn't any players in Nebraska. So so now, I know people get all up in arms, but I think it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's more choices for the players and more choices for the coaches to, make their decisions. I think, it's easy to say, okay, well, you're not doing X, Y, and Z, but I think it's good that these kids are able to go to other places. You're not going to be able to sign them all. I mean, I've been in the same situation, when I was getting recruited, never thought of any players coming out of Minnesota. Then, Lane goes to Fresno State. I go to Nebraska. There was a kid that went to Notre Dame before that. And next thing you know, guys started to take off after that. You know what I mean? You had Steve Rosga that went to Colorado, ended up being a decent player. And then next thing you know, James Laurinaitis goes to Ohio State, and rest is history. Now you got guys going everywhere. It's a byproduct of everybody being competitive and leveling up. Now, obviously biased, I'd like everybody to go to Nebraska, but I think it's a good thing. But I want to highlight those two young kids because I think, the other guys that have committed early, these guys have taken it to the next step. And then obviously the third one is a guy that I'm, really, proud of is a kid that used to play for me. His name is Tyrell Chapman. He was a Northern, Illinois recruit, 3-star or 3-sport athlete, dominant in everything. Doesn't play basketball anymore. Really took off in track and football. His dad's great. His family's great. Committed to Northern Illinois and turned things out. I mean, he's 6'3", 6'4", tremendous athlete, competitive, tough kid. Very, very mentally tough and focused and driven. And a great teammate. And then he just, he committed to Iowa State. Obviously, he went there and they looked at him. And I think he just had his official visit. So I'm happy for these kids, man. I'm happy for all of them. And, you want the best for them.
That you do. Sometimes the best is at Nebraska. Sometimes the best is somewhere else. But again, never burn a bridge. Very rarely burn a bridge, I should say. Right? I mean, keep it on the up and up.
In this day and age of college football, even with the contracts that you're not going to see these guys aren't going to have, like, we have a reunion coming up this year for 95 championship, right?
Better be as off the chain as the 94 one.
It will be. It'll be bigger and better, but these kids will never experience that. I mean, I guess they will. They can go to 4 different schools.
Right.
But they will never have the experience that we all had here of going to college together. Now, granted, we never had the experience to get paid millions of bucks or hundreds of thousands of dollars to play the game we play for free. Matter of fact, we were definitely grossly overpaid considering that the cost of living scholarship checks were light, $100 and stuff,
Woo.
And so
if we even got it.
Yeah, well, the worst one, I'll tell you this real quick. The worst scholarship checks that you get is after Thanksgiving. School's out. Those things. Boy, you better have saved your money up before because it's going to be tough sledding. Now, you get a little bit of like bowl money and stuff like that. And if I was able to get a Pell Grant and stuff, but you better not spend your money on getting some, subwoofers in your car because that's 6 weeks. Even if you get down to a bowl game, it's tough, man. Because you're not in the dorms. It's based on, when you're in school and stuff like that. And obviously rules have probably changed because I think the scholarship money is significantly higher. So you don't have a disadvantage competitively, but back then it was tough. So,
but you made it.
Yeah. Anyways, good segment again. We're going to take a quick break, come back, put a bow on this bad boy. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
You've heard the phrase bigger is better. Hello, this is Joe Cordell of Cordell and Cordell. As applied to family law firms, this phrase can be misleading. Yes, it's true that more resources, proven processes, a wealth of shared experience and expertise, these are all good things. But it's also true that being local has its advantages for a law firm. Familiarity with judges, with local experts, opposing counsel, even the local rules and practices. So if you're a guy confronting a family law matter, you should be thinking right now, I need all the above. I need big and local. In that case, call Cordell and Cordell, a national law firm comprised of local offices with local attorneys who practice in local courts. Remember, for over 35 years, we've been the partner that you can count on.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell and Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys. 402-858-3220. CordellCordell.com. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and the hail sale has been a huge success, but is winding down. We still though have several units with huge discounts. Plus, we have brand new Sierras, $14,000 off list, or starting at $37,105, or 0.9% APR on select new models. Yes, you heard right. $14,000 off or 0.9% APR on new Sierras starting at $37,105. So please check us out at cobblecars.com. All deals with roof credit, stock number G289358.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Your sprinklers are watering the street or flooding your backyard. If you're on a list that doesn't exist, it's time for Judson Irrigation. At Judson Irrigation, Lee or Lacey or Judson will make an appointment. You pick the time and they'll be there to fix your sprinkler system. Now that's service, a dying art these days.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman. Quick segment here before we turn it over to WTF, Eastrick and Clester on Thursdays, every Thursday. Good talk, man. I mean, listen, Strick was talking about some of his plays in the NBA, but then I was thinking about like the first time I got that after Thanksgiving scholarship check. I was like, what the hell? Like,
what after Thanksgiving scholarship check?
Well, the problem, here's the thing is, like, I know in June when all the new players came in, they moved in, they got like, I don't know, apartments or whatever, so they never went to the dorm. So when I was in college, you only could, like, there is a rule, like Coach Osborne, I think, had, you only could stay in the dorms the first year. And once the school year's out, you got to go find your own place. If it was up to me, I would have just stayed in the dorms the whole time. Number one, now granted, living in that little small room, probably I would have maybe I could have
got a little stir crazy.
Yeah, I got a little stir crazy. And I was independent enough to, pay bills and all that other stuff. But I don't know if I would, like, when you look at the scholarship checks that we were getting, that's why I had 5-6 roommates.
Right.
Now it was great when we was having little parties. $5 a head. I can't tell you we used to charge an extra fee for people though. At the door.
I wouldn't blame
Jay
you.
Gates was the doorman. He was a great doorman.
Buy your tickets ahead of time. It's more expensive when you get to the door.
He was a great doorman. Yeah, we pre-sell them and stuff. No, I'm just playing. But so it was.
Let's say Coach Foreman is at Foreman U, whatever. Yeah. Would you encourage the same system that you had at Nebraska in terms of living arrangements? Would you rather have your team stay in the dorms all year? Would you rather have them off campus? Do you like the mix? How would you set up your living arrangement?
I like earlier in your career. I like the guys, especially if they, aren't 21. I like them to be, they don't even, the dorms or like they, I like them in close proximity. Because I just think it takes a while. And I felt like, look, growing up with my dad, I had to mature, a lot faster and all this other stuff. But still, man, learning how to pay your bills and all that other stuff, I just think it's something that, another year or two would have been really, really good for not only myself, but, other guys. Now, and then you go off into the wild.
Yeah, I think that hybrid system is probably the best because I think that there's a lot you can get out of making sure they're all in the same spot at the same time.
Right.
Not like you're micromanaging helicopter parenting, which isn't your job as a coach. Right. I get that. But having everyone in the same spot, there's no excuse for you to be late. Now I know there's not traffic. Yeah, I see that, they scoop the sidewalk. You can walk to practice.
Right.
But on the same hand, I do think there's something to be said for, letting your players spread their wings, trusting them to live off campus if they're old enough to handle their business, learn that responsibility, maturity.
There's time for
that. It's harder to learn on campus.
Yeah, and I think there's the right time for it. And if you just do 2 years or look, these places that they're staying now is way better than we had in the dorm. If they want to call that a twin bed, I'm 6'2.5", 6'3". My feet were hanging out. I'd imagine what Teddy Prohaska would be like in the dorm. I'm going to tell you this, man. When I went to Buffalo real quick, and I was fortunate enough that I got drafted to Buffalo. Sheldon Jackson did too. But one of the best things and advice that I knew my dad told me, and I was fortunate enough to have a place that was literally a rock's throw from the facility, right? I could, no matter if you oversleep or anything, like I can get there on time. Sheldon had a roommate, Sheldon decided to live. Sheldon moved, I think he was like an hour and some change away from the facility. He had bought a house or something like that, kind of fixer upper, I think, or whatever. And he was like, I was like, bro,
you're going to be late in the winter.
Look, it snows.
Lake effect snow.
No joke in Buffalo. And it probably snows even worse up wherever the heck he was at. I never went up there. He never was late. Sheldon was very mature, and there was a couple of times I was like, hey man, I had like extras, stay here. You know what I mean? But in order, what I'm saying is, in order to learn how to be a pro, which you have to learn how to be a pro now in college, I think proximity to the facility, to campus, to the resources that you need that you don't know how to do yourself yet, or you're not mature enough to make rational decisions because you are still a young man, even though you're getting paid like an adult.
Right.
I like that. But, listen, these guys are living great. More power to them. So,
Sometimes too great.
No, they're all right. I mean, look, man.
Sometimes.
Live great right now. Go play good. Live greater. So, anyways, appreciate you guys listening. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman, Old School. We will be back tomorrow. We'll holler at you.